So why do so many of us adults talk to kids, whether they be toddlers or children or adolescents, talk to them like they're a different species? Hi, Richard here again from Learn, Implement, Share. Talking about aspects of moving your classes and your students into engaged learners. And this one's about communication. Now here's the thing. Here's something that I've never understood. There's a lot of adults, whether they be parents, whether they be teachers, whether they just be adults in community, who often, when they're talking with toddlers or little kids or adolescents, they talk down to them in a demeaning kind of way without really even realizing it. And when we do that, if I'm talking down to someone, I'm not talking to them like they're a human. It's almost like I've made them another species. Like I talk to my pets in a certain way, and I talk to adults in a certain way, and then I'll choose a different way to talk to kids. But kids are humans. Kids are fully grown humans that just haven't quite fully grown yet. And it seems crazy that we talk down to them. Not everyone does, of course, but a lot of people do. And when that happens, the receiver, the kid, switches off. It's a turn off. They lose respect for that adult. The message is, I don't even want to listen to this person. And it doesn't allow them to expand. But when we talk to kids like they're human, it's almost like, I'm a human, you're a human, I've got a different role to play, my role as parent or my role as teacher, and your role as something else. But we're human, and we're going to talk like humans, and we're going to be civil. When you do that, it raises the child up. You gain respect. It's an opening experience rather than a closing experience. The message from the person speaking down is, I'm better than you, I know best, I'm right. The message for the receiver is, I'm wrong, I'm a loser, I don't have value. But when people are talking on this as equals, and I know teachers and students aren't equals, but I'm talking about an attitude of equality when we're communicating, then the experience for the learner or for the student is an uplifting experience, and it's expansive. It's this adult, I really like this adult, I like hearing this, I like this experience. So whether you believe you're better than a child or not is irrelevant. What it does, if we're wanting to have our children on side as parents or our students on side as teachers, then we need to do things that make our job easier. And one of the things we can do is to talk with our kids as equals in communication. So this is a really good thing to think about. Now you might already be communicating really well with your kids, but you might not have thought about this. So it is a really good thing to think about. And you might want to ask yourself a question, are there situations in which I do talk down? So let's look at a bit of a strategy involved with this, and it's based on the minute after class idea. So if you have a student who is not doing anything outrageously bad, but maybe they're just talking a little bit too much in class, they've turned around 2 more times than they should have, perhaps they're not quite focused on their work. The worst thing you want to do is just snap at them, and you might be snapping at them quite regularly. Or by that I mean, if the name is, Joe, well, when you use that word Joe, it's more often than not has a negative connotation. So you're kind of always on Joe's case. That's not a good scene. So you need to turn that around in a way that is not punishment, because you actually want the behaviour to improve. And so one of the good ways of doing that is a minute after class. But it's not always possible to have a chat with a child after class because you might have another class coming or whatever. So I like to talk about it as a fireside chat. Because if that minute after class, or if that little couple of minutes at lunchtime when you're talking, if you're going, now I've had enough of this, you're turning around way too often and it's really getting up my nose and this has got to stop, and if it doesn't stop, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's like speaking to that child like he or she is another species. So that's where the fireside chat comes in. And so it can look something like this. Hey, look, Joe, I want to talk about this classroom dynamic that's going on, because what I'm noticing is that when I call your name, more often than not, it has a negative connotation. It's like I'm on your case, and I really don't like that. But from my point of view, it seems like you're just talking out of turn way too much, or whatever it is. But that's my perspective. I want to hear what's your perspective, what's going on for you, and you let the child say their piece. And then you ask questions like, look, do you want to be on side here? Like, do you prefer me praising you or being on your case? Oh, well, I prefer you praising me. What can we do? I've actually said to students sometimes, look, I don't know what to do. I'm honestly out of ideas. I really want you to help me out. What can I do to help me build this positive situation in our classroom? Tell me. And they usually come up with some pretty good ideas. So that's what I mean by a fireside chat. I'm not telling them off. There's no punishment. There's no threat. You're just talking eye to eye. Now, if the child is blanking you, if they're not giving you the time of day, then you can say, look, Joe, clearly this is not a good time for you. You've obviously got other things on your mind, but we need to resolve this. So I'm going to pause this chat now, but we're going to come back to this, and then the next lesson we're going to book another time for us to continue this chat. Do you understand what I'm saying? And if they're still blanking you, you can get them to repeat, to paraphrase what you've said so they understand what the deal is. And that gives them time to sort of process what's going on. And hopefully that they realise that they're not in trouble, you're just wanting a chat to try to move things in a positive direction. So that's my little rant on not speaking down to kids and fireside chats, which are really powerful. If you haven't really thought about it much, have a think about it and have a play with it. It can be a very positive force in your student management toolkit. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.